Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. So on today's video, I just wanted to make a card. I got this new stamp in. It's from Brutus Monroe, and I wanted to heat emboss it and do some uh, watercoloring with the Zig markers. So I'm just inking up the stamp with the VersaFine Black Onyx ink, excuse me. And since it's this new stamp, I'm inking it twice. And once we ink it up, I actually wind up, I think, doing certain spots a third time, only because it didn't get as crisp of an image that I wanted. And then once I got done with that, I'm going to bring out my black embossing powder. Now, I will tell you this. I probably should have used a lot more of the EK Success powder um, before I did my stamping because there were some spots on here that it wound up sticking to. And when you're doing this big a piece of paper, I would suggest using like either some copy paper for you to um, do the embossing powder over top of, only because sometimes these little containers it's still not big enough, so it makes a little bit of a mess. Okay, so I took a brush, cleaned up some areas. Now we're going to heat up our heating tool and we're going to go ahead and get this to melt. And I sped this video up where it's 5 times the speed so that way we can go through here. Because most of this you guys are aware of. If you ever heat embossed before, make sure you treat your paper, then do the embossing powder and heat it up, and you can see the magic. I tried hanging, or not hanging, but kind of tilting my project a little bit while I was melting it so I could see the shine. You can usually see it better that way. So just another tip for you. So sorry about that. I had a bunch of stuff, of course, in a pile, and it decided to tumble. So what I'm doing is next to me I have a container that I keep my zigs in, and I was just grabbing rainbow colors. And at the last minute I was like, yep, I'm going to add purple. So each one of these lines, we're going to add color on one end and then drag the color with using our water brush marker, or the one with the water in it, excuse me, and bringing it the color to the center. And the particular water brush I'm using, I want to say, is a Tim Holtz. I'll try and link to any of the products that we have in the boutique at scrapbookingwithme.com. I know that we have a Pentel water brush, and I don't think we have the Zig markers, but I know we do have some of the Nuvo ones, which you could also do the same thing with. So some of the, I want to say, it's more like the brush, not the markers, just the brush. So off camera, I went ahead and filled in the entire picture. And what I did was I took each color and I did the one color in all of its spots and colored it in with the water brush. And then I would go to the next color because I was actually doing all 8 colors like at a time, and I was like, this is going to take me forever. So it definitely went much faster doing the one color everywhere it's supposed to go and then moving on to the next. So as you can see, I did make my card here a little bit bigger than the actual stamp size so we could trim it down. And the stamp size itself is 5.5 by 5.5. So I decided at first I cut it right to the stamped image, but then I remembered I wanted to actually make my card 5.5 by 5.5, but I wanted a little bit of a border around the focal image right here, the piece that we just colored in. So I wind up trimming the watercolor piece down to 5.25 by 5.25, and then I trimmed or cut a piece of white paper that was 5 3/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to attach that to it using the ATG tape and the arc glitter glue. And then we're going to do the same thing to the card base, which my card base I made 5.5 by 11, scored it at 5.5, and we had our square card. and it's so pretty. I love the different colors and it's very vibrant. Um, but I knew I wanted to add a little bit of splatter. And I have used this box before with something that was a little sticky, so I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to tear up my card. So that's what that white strip was. And then I'm taking my Distress stain, yeah, my Distress sprays in the white picket fence and the black soot. And we're going to do a little bit of splatters around the front, just a little bit of something. And then we're going to set that aside and work on our sentiment. And this was from, I can't remember if it was April or March, but it was one of the kits, and it's a happy birthday stamp set by Kaiser Craft. And we're just going to stamp wishing you a fabulous day. And I actually tried to dry this off with the heat tool so that way I wouldn't smudge, right? Because we all know with VersaMark, it tends to smear a little. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, you did good. Go ahead, uh, get this attached, turn it over, rub, so that way I don't uh, smudge anything. And then after I get the foam tape on and I'm trying to get this all added to the card front, I wind up having a little smudge marks anyway. And I think it was mostly because some of the splatter isn't dry and I'm still working on it. So I grabbed some gold twine or thread and I decide I want to put that behind my sentiment. And I'm fiddling with it here, trying to get it kind of to lay nice and how I want it to. But it winds up getting more and more like pulled aside. So I decided to just reattach it to the card itself and then lay the sentiment on top of it. And then I grabbed my mono eraser to get the smudges. And if you can't get all your smudges out, no problem. Grab you a sequin, enamel dot, something that you can put on top of it. And that's what I did here. I just put down some of the enamel dots. And I decided on the card base itself to put one on each of the colors, just kind of randomly all over. And then I'm going to tap it on top of my glue bottle, and then also I use one of the gesso containers because I really want this to flatten, and it's going to flatten more overnight since I tapped it. So that way they really do look more like enamel dots. Alright, so here's some close-ups of the final project with the gold thread, the splatters, and you can see our enamel dots. So thank you guys so much for joining me. So like I said before, I will have links down below to similar items or as close as I can get that's on scrapbookingwithme.com. And when you check out, you can use coupon code TT15, that's TT15, or make sure you hit or you could use the coupon code, I think she said rewards, and that puts you into the rewards program and you get the same 15%, I believe it is, off additionally. So win-win, either one. I don't think you can use both, but you can definitely use either one. All right, and here we're going to have links to previous videos, and I thank you guys and I hope you have a great day.